Okay, welcome to Thursdays with Franco on the 27th of October, where we talk things autonomous and Apex and how to get that even easier and working. And today, got my special colleague and friend, Vas Kuhaluri. Hey, Vas, how are you?
Good, Franco. How are you?
I'm good. And OCI GoldenGate, it's all about how we get data into autonomous so we can do more Apex and analytics type things. And so tell us, what are we going to be talking about today with OCI GoldenGate?
So, Franco, we're going to be talking about, what we see outside with some of the customers, how they're leveraging OCI GoldenGate, and also some of those common use cases that we see across the industry, across all the verticals. And also, I have a little demo that I've put together where we are going to be showcasing, real-time migration of a HR schema from an Oracle 12c database to Oracle 19c, which is our autonomous database in OCI, right? So, yeah.
Look forward to that. So let's, GoldenGate's been around for a long time, and the reasons why you use it probably are becoming more important. So can you take us through what are those reasons, which I think is your very first slide?
Sure, Franco. So, to get started, let me set that stage with some of these business outcomes, right? Where we most of the organizations or the customers seeking to achieve, whether it is business continuity, continuous data flows, or those timely insights, right? Remarkably, some of these solutions here can be simple, right, and operational, leveraging some of that, efficiency and economics of the cloud as well, right? But the, opportunities to do even faster analytics, maybe the answer that, some of those customers might be looking for. Customers running those critical mission, mission critical or, cloud and multi-cloud data solutions need that, highest levels of business continuity, right? For that data availability or for no downtime migrations, right? And also, we see customers requiring a continuous flowing of that data that can go from ground to cloud or to multi-cloud, right? And, without that inefficient, batch processing of the data. And when you look at for analytics, customers demand timely insights on, data in memory or in a data stream or in data warehouse, or for that matter, a data lake. So all this is possible with OCI GoldenGate, which is available in our Oracle Cloud infrastructure, right? So, all those, requirements that I was mentioning about, right? We have a lot of customers who are leveraging OCI GoldenGate at the moment. One of that, is Shifa Hospital in Pakistan, right? Where, during the surge, during the pandemic, right, there was a huge surge of COVID-19 cases, making it difficult for Shifa Hospital to serve the patients, right? And when the pandemic was at its peak, right, the hospital was forced to turn some of those patients away, right? So to address that problem, what they've done is they've created a digital healthcare app called eShifa Home Health Services to provide those, remote care services, be the consultations or diagnostics tests or nursing services, right? And today, the Shifa Hospital's on-premise health management is using OCI as its disaster recovery site, allowing the hospital to achieve regulatory compliance and also that business continuity that I was talking previously, right? And after the implementation, the hospital managed to save 50% in CAPEX investments for a cloud-based disaster recovery site compared to a traditional approach, right? Today, OCI GoldenGate replicates data from their health management system in their data centers to the eShifa app in real time to provide a seamless patient experience, right? So this is one of that example of some of those customers leveraging OCI GoldenGate for disaster recovery use case.
You know what I love about that case is that there is an example of an application that's been running for a while, and you're trying to work out, how do I get more value out of my data? How can I do more with my data beyond the original purpose? And is it possible to do it in a non-intrusive manner? And there we are using GoldenGate, pretty much hitting about 3 or 4 birds with the one stone. One initiative then unlocks and creates some real estate so you can do a hell of a lot more clever stuff for your organization. And it's an example of, how you need, it's an example of how people were thinking very cleverly in the pandemic. How do I, start to strengthen using a belt and braces approach? And here on this slide, you're actually showing the reason why that was possible. Take us through it.
Sure, Franco. So as most of you know that, the new, OCI GoldenGate is a fully native, Oracle managed cloud service for all of those real-time data integration use cases, right? Covering operational, analytical data engineering solutions, right? The service runs on Oracle GoldenGate 21c microservices architecture, right? And the service is completely auto scale, right? With complete, being able to connect to the most popular databases like Oracle, MySQL, MariaDB, and BigData technologies, which I will talk in details in about a couple of minutes, right? So with this cloud native service, you're able to connect to on-premise, but all those on-premise databases need to be 11.2.04 plus above, right? So, and when you look at this OCI GoldenGate, some of those differentiated use cases that it would address is, some of those active database migrations or implementations, setting up that real-time data warehouse, loading change data into data lakes. And this integrates with ADW natively, right? And to capture and deliver data. And when you look at the sources and targets, they can reside in Oracle Cloud, on-premise, or any other third-party clouds.
What's interesting in this world where we talk agility, changing direction, and speed, I can really see where autonomous fits in, where Apex fits in, and where analytics fits in. And now I'm seeing GoldenGate is like a shifting spanner I need to have in that tool set as well with what you've shown me. So at Open World, it looks like GoldenGate was the talk of the town for a few reasons.
Yes, Franco. So they made 6 big announcements around GoldenGate. So let me take you through some of those, all the 6 announcements that we made at the Open World, which was conducted last week, right? So the first one is they've added 30 plus new sources and targets for OCI GoldenGate, right? And those database additions include MySQL and MariaDB. And these open source databases are supported across on-premises and in the cloud, on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Azure, Amazon Web Services, and Google Cloud Platform, right? So the Microsoft SQL Server and some of the top cloud databases, such as AWS Aurora, Azure SQL Database, Azure Synapse Analytics, Snowflake, and Google Big Data Query, right? They are going to be made available and in a phased approach going forward in the next calendar year, right? And we will also include some of those new connectors to some of the most widely used NoSQL databases, such as MongoDB, Azure Cosmos Database, Redis, and Oracle Autonomous JSON Database as well.
Okay, so they're the first 3. What are the next 3?
No, that's the first one that I talked about. The second one is about making OCI GoldenGate Stream Analytics as a more native PaaS service, a fully managed cloud service. So now with this announcement, which is the second one, customers are no longer need to worry about the administration of the Apache Kafka, Apache Spark, for the runtime of their
Okay.
stream processing, right? It is all taken care of transparently by the Oracle cloud teams who are operating the service, right? And the third announcement that they made is the certification of GoldenGate for online MongoDB migrations, right? We've had a huge request from enterprise customers looking for migration options that do not involve any downtime and with minimal disruption to MongoDB-based applications. In the case of MongoDB migrations, customers are moving to more modern MongoDB versions or Mongo compatible databases such as Azure Cosmos DB or to the Oracle Cloud compatible document stores such as ATP, Autonomous Transaction Processing, or Autonomous JSON database.
That's very good. Okay, now let's move on to the next three.
So the fourth announcement was around the on-prem GoldenGate big data. So when you look at on-premise GoldenGate, we've got GoldenGate for Oracle's queue, GoldenGate for non-Oracle's queue, and GoldenGate for big data's queue. So we've had a lot of requests from a lot of customers saying, why do we need to pay for Oracle GoldenGate for big data's queue when we have only one big data that we are connecting to, right? So with this announcement, they're going to be making the cost pricing available just for that big data target. Like if a customer comes around, goes, I have only Snowflake as a big data target, can I have that SKU? And we are able to provide that micro level pricing for GoldenGate for big data just for that Snowflake as a target. And the fifth announcement that we made is another GoldenGate free. So this is made available via Oracle containers, right? Ready to be deployed anywhere on-premise or in OCI or in any other cloud platforms. So when we are talking about GoldenGate as a free, this is an on-premise GoldenGate license, which is going to be made available via this Docker container, right? The free version is limited to support databases that are smaller than 20 gig in size, right? And there is no Oracle support. It is supported through community forums, right? So where we have seen a request is from those educational institutions where the teachers are trying to get their students to build some industry-based solutions around real-time data replication, or some of those ISVs, who want to embed and distribute that data replication as part of their solutions and applications, whether it is on-premise or in the cloud, without having to pay for GoldenGate licenses, right? And the sixth announcement that we made is we're going to be coming up with Oracle GoldenGate 23C, piggybacking those announcements around the database 23C. We're going to be announcing a lot of announcements as part of this announcement 23C launch. So that all these new announcements are going to be made available other than the 23C GoldenGate around January, February timeframe. Franco.
Cool. Okay, so you've talked about GoldenGate's announcements and capabilities, what makes it unique. Can we revisit some of the actual patterns or use cases of why people consider it?
Sure, Franco. So when you look at some of those customers who are leveraging the technology, which is the OCI GoldenGate, and some of those common use cases, right, where we see some of those customers moving real-time transactions from ground to cloud, from on-premise to cloud, where they're doing database 12C real-time migration to 19C to OCI in real time, right? That's one of the use cases. If you look at the multi-region use case, right? You may have MySQL instance sitting in Frankfurt data center, moving that, MySQL, replicating that data to MySQL instance in Singapore. We've seen some of those customers, doing or, replicating that data between the data centers, right? And we've also natively integrated OCI GoldenGate with some of our SaaS applications, which is Oracle Transport Management and Retail Cloud, right? And when you look at the multi-cloud scenario, you are able to take the data from third-party clouds such as Amazon RDS running MySQL to MySQL in OCI, right? And also, from a big data standpoint, we have the capabilities to move the data to messaging platforms such as Apache Kafka and also, OCI streaming. We can load the data to data lakes and with OCI GoldenGate, and we have the ability to capture the data now from on-prem Kafka systems.
So this is brilliant. So conceptually, you're showing me how I can think about GoldenGate, and the point you're also highlighting is Oracle is just is one of the many data sources. Do you have another slide that shows us the different Oracle, the different data sources that could be included?
Sure, Franco. Yes. So when you look at in a pictorial view, right? So some of those use cases that I was highlighting before is when you look at OCI GoldenGate. So you may have the MySQL running in Microsoft Azure, running in Amazon RDS, Amazon Aurora. You are able to replicate the data from that MySQL instance to MySQL in OCI with the newer version of OCI GoldenGate. And in addition to that, you are able to replicate data to some of our big data technologies, which is OCI object storage, OCI streaming, and also Kafka. So I'll give you a good example of a Kafka where we have seen a lot of customers building on-premise Kafka clusters, and they have grown to an extent where they're not able to manage those Kafka clusters. And we have seen a lot of requests from those customers saying, how do we move some of that unmanaged Kafka clusters to cloud, right? So with this new announcement, we're going to be able to provide that capability to some of those customers where they can move their on-prem Kafka to our OCI Kafka. And the beauty about OCI GoldenGate is you are able to natively integrate with some of our OCI databases or Oracle databases, whether they are sitting in Azure or Amazon or in our OCI itself, right? And these capabilities, right, allow you to create some of those replication patterns, right, or topologies, what you call, right? When you look at unidirection, it is database to database replication. When you look at bidirectional, most of the customers use it for active-active or dual-active database replication. When you look at a peer-to-peer, right, which can be set up for multi-master replication of continuously keeping 3 or more in sync with one another, right? We also see some of the customers going broadcast topology, where what we call a fan out model. We go from single database to a multiple database, for example, sharing that referencing data. We also see some of the customers doing a consolidation topology, right, where you can go from OLTP to operational data store to enterprise data warehouse. And the last one is the distribution model, the topology, where you're posting events out of the databases to messaging systems.
I love that previous slide and this slide. It really helps you to understand how we can use GoldenGate in a variety of forms, whether it's just as simple as grabbing some transactions and putting it into a reporting system, right through to doing that clever distribution or consolidation stuff. Now, I need to ask about security. How does security get incorporated with what you do when you're doing GoldenGate stuff?
Sure, Franco. So as we all know, OCI is security. Our Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is a security first cloud, right? So OCI GoldenGate workloads are fully secured, isolated from other tenants, right? Connections between sources and targets, including connectivity between GoldenGate deployments, are protected using certificates, right? Their credentials are stored safely in key vaults, such as OCI Vault, to manage encryption keys, right? all these, in addition, any data that goes through OCI GoldenGate deployment is fully encrypted. So all these features make OCI GoldenGate as an enterprise platform ready to run those mission critical workloads.
Now, when I look at this, you're actually convincing me it's a good way to go with, the isolated workloads, certificates encrypted, the trusted vaults. But, Oracle's, used to be known for being expensive and used to be knowing that you have to start big. What can you show me about, hey, it's not going to cost much, this thing will scale, and what sort of architecture will I need to get started?
Sure, Franco, I'll take you through those in just a few seconds. So we've seen a lot of customers starting small. They just wanted to, spin up one OCPU. We will support that. You can start with one OCPU, right? And you can grow massively. It's exactly the same experience as our autonomous database, right? The auto scaling, it's true pay per use. You choose a base size, you turn on the scale feature. The automatic scaling is about 3 times the scaling factor, right? And scaling happens online, no downtime. It's per second billing.
That's impressive.
And all of those technologies that I was talking about, replicating to OCI databases, replicating to MySQL in OCI, replicating from other clouds to OCI, it's one SKU, OCI GoldenGate SKU. You don't need multiple SKUs for that, right? You get that capability from one SKU. And what we see the recommended sizing is, you start with one OCPU, the way we've seen some of the customers going, in a typical production use case scenario, they go with 4 OCPU and also extreme scale, which we talk, the top end of the town customers where, they start with 8 OCPU and auto scale it to 24 OCPU.
That's great. That's great. So how far away are we from seeing some sort of demonstration?
We're pretty close, Franco. So in this demo, what I'm going to be showcasing is how I put a demo together, moving or migrating in real time from an HR database sitting on Oracle 12c, HR schema sitting on Oracle 12c to Oracle 19z, which is our autonomous database in OCI, right? So I will show you the results, how it looks like, and I'll take you through some of that navigation menu as well in a minute.
Great, let's do it.
So let me stop sharing and go back to my OCI console.
So what we're going to have a look at now is what Vas has been doing with being able to migrate a 12c database to a autonomous database. So set it up so he could migrate it. Not only did he migrate it, he then set it up such that he could continuously have data being replicated there in real time. So we're going to have it over back to you, Vas.
Thank you, Franco. So when we go onto Oracle Cloud Console, we click on Oracle Databases, and then we click on Oracle GoldenGate. So you get different options on the left-hand side. You get the deployment, you get the deployment backups, you can register the databases where you're able to connect that to OCI object storage, MySQL instances, all those non-Oracle sources that I was alluding before, right? However, I've set up this demo. So let me take you through some of those. So what I've done is I've created an OCI GoldenGate service deployment in my DI, which is our data integration compartment. So when I click on this OCI GoldenGate service, so all this has been set up using Terraforms, as most of you know. Most of you know, this allows you to manage, the version, the persistent infrastructure through the infrastructure as a code. And that is a component that connects Terraform to the OCI services that, you want to manage. We will use it as our infrastructure orchestration to deploy all these resources. So that's what I have done this in this demo. So as I was mentioning before, we've taken a sample schema HR from 12c Oracle database on-prem, and we are doing, I managed to do a real-time migration to autonomous database in OCI. So when I click on this OCI GoldenGate service, I click on Launch Console.
And so as that is coming up, and I know you'll have to log in soon, the thing which I liked already, there's, you know, like traditionally, if you're in some sort of foreign cloud, you'd have to work out how to get access to some sort of data movement capability that you would probably normally have to install in some sort of VM. Oracle provides this GoldenGate capability as a native service, effectively another PaaS experience. So I really like how that's available, and it's there right next to the databases. The other thing I really liked is how you register your databases. So it's like a separation of concern thing, where if they're databases installed on-prem or in a cloud, or they're all the autonomous databases, you create your little catalog of your databases there. The third thing I liked as you were going through that is that you were in that GoldenGate cloud service capability, and it says, hey, do you want to do an upgrade of your software? So it gives you that all seamlessly without you having to be a rocket scientist and actually spend time doing it in dev and test. You can feel quite comfortable and confident that Oracle's got that there. Okay, so we're now here in your GoldenGate console, and I can see there's like a source database and a destination database. Take it away.
Sure, Franco. So once you're done with that source database and target configuration, right? What I set up is the initial load extract from the source database scenario. So it is, in this scenario, it is Oracle database 12c, which is on premise. We've configured 2 extract processes, which is what we call, what I call in my demo as X2Prim and initial load, right? X2Prim is capturing that data, whereas the initial load is capturing every row of that source HR schema tables, right? So what happens next is we need to create 2 replicate processes for these 2 extracts, right? So the process for initial load replication is simple and easy to configure. What I have provided a name for the replicate process, for example, is a rep load, right? Because this will be our initial load replicate process.
Yeah.
And to create our continuous replicate process, we provided, a name for the replicate process. In this demo, we call it as a rep count, right? This will be our continuous replication process, right? So with this, what we have done is, you're able to see a migration of the Oracle 12c database on-premise to Oracle Autonomous Database in OCI.
That's great. And the thing which I really like about this is that it's all in the one screen, where you've got the extraction, the preparation for the data you want to take out of your source database. So obviously the nice thing about having it set up that way, you could do a repeat or let's try it again. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the ability to load. And you could do, once again, we go to do the load, we go, oh, did it really do it? We could do deletions and try it again. And then once you think this is set up in the appropriate, optimal way, you've got that continuous replication that you've got set up with RepCont. So as transactions are applied in that 12c database on the left, they'll be automatically applied on the right there.
Yeah. And so let me take you through some of those, navigation bar, which lets most of the customers, do some of those services, right? When you look at the administration service, Franco,
yes,
it'll allow you to administer, manage, and monitor those extract and replicate processes.
Yeah.
Right? When you click on that distribution service, hopefully it will come up soon. Maybe there is a network lag or internet problem. A networked data distribution agent that conveys and process data and commands in a distributed deployment environment, right? So when there is, when you're wanting to look at, performance metrics service, right? It collects and stores deployment performance results. As you see, most of them are in green, which means they're running, right? And which means the replication is working, no issues.
Yeah.
When you click on that receiver service, right, it interoperates with the distribution server to handle all of those incoming TwF Whats, right? So that's, the navigation bar within an Oracle Cloud Console.
Cool. Okay, so thank you for that quick tour of your experience. Now, if I wanted to do this at home in a safe place, where can I go? Like, what are some next steps for me to kick off my learning with what's possible with GoldenGate, especially given some of the things you've mentioned?
Sure, Franco. Let me bring my slides back again onto the screen. So give me a second. Right, there we go. So what's next? You can always, there's a lot of live labs that are available. You can go through those live labs at your own pace, in your own time. And what we offer for some of those customers, free trial. You can always sign up to a cloud free trial account, and you can try yourself, right? So there's a lot of documents that are available, and here are some of those URLs that are available where you are able to download and navigate through some of those live labs and also some technical documentations.
Thank you, Vas. Thank you for your time today. And I think I know what I'll be playing with in the coming week. Thank you, Vas.
Thank you, Franco.